So yeah, this is just the comments of that video I watched about, why men are kind of withdrawing from society. Um, they noticed we left. I thought we were invisible. Yep. A lot of men are starting to find out that society is all bullshit and would rather just chill. Yep. Um, 23 and I have no interest in participating in the society for the next 40 years. Yep. Peace is more valuable than excitement is such a good line. Yep. When the world turns its back on you, you turn your back on the world. Yep, that's what's happening. That's a lot of people feel, a lot of men feel that way. We feel like, oh, well, society and the world, doesn't really care about us, so why should we care to like be, engaged in society? Like why? For what reason? Everything with people is a fucking status symbol these days. Yep. That's this person's words, not mine. Yep, that's what it is. Everything is about status. Everything is about appearance. It's kind of like, that there's that British sitcom, Keeping Up Appearances, and there's this lady, Hyacinth, and she's all about everyone needs to look their best and be their best, and it's all performative. It's all just, it's not natural, some performing is okay, but it's when it's been taken to a whole extreme of, it's taken to this far of an extreme. It's an issue where people feel like they constantly have to be on performing mode. They have to constantly, show what their skills are or whatever. It's like, people just want to be themselves. Like some people just, they want to be themselves and they don't feel encouraged to do that. It's all a performance. That's a long comment. Okay. Let's stop pretending. We aren't quitting because we want to. We've been excluded from society and have given up because we see no positive way forward at this point. Yeah, that's exactly what, that's kind of like what he was saying in the video. That's what I've been saying. We're just not pretending anymore. The people, the awoken people like me, we're just not pretending anymore. We see everything for what it is. And, that's a lot of society, hates people like me and you because like we call it out. We call out the issues with everything. Most men between 28 and 38 was told a lie. We was raised to exist in a world that no longer is here. Oh yeah, definitely. Most definitely we were, because we're told go to college, get a skill, do all these things, get a certification, only to be rejected and still not offer jobs. Yeah. Staying home is easier than trying to prove you belong. Yep. It's just, again, everything's a performance. And, I, for one, don't want to have to feel like I'm constantly having to perform. That's not who I am. I don't care about that. I just want to be me. And, people who truly like me or value me, they'll accept me for who I am. My good, my bad, my ugly, everything. Everything I need is at home, and I don't like people. Simple as that. Yep. We aren't quitting. We're being ostracized. I love the fact that men are now staying to themselves. There's so much peace and solitude. You can be alone and not be lonely, just like you can be in a room full of people and still feel lonely. Oh yeah, you guys already know. I've made a whole video about that. It's something to be physically alone. And of course, extended periods of time of being physically alone is not good. It's not good for anyone's mental health. But yeah, when you're in a room of people and you still feel like alone, like I often do in life, like there's been so many times I've been around people, I've been around rooms of people or groups of people, and I completely just feel like invisible, or I feel like I'm just on a lone island. That's a horrible feeling. Like that is a horrible feeling. Society has given me social anxiety. Yep. go where you're not want go where you're wanted, not tolerated. Yep, exactly. You know, you want to be around people who actually like you for you, and you're not putting on a performance. We work every day for decades, retire when we're old, sick and helpless, then die. It's a scam, and we can't get away with it. Pretty much. Men are natural gamers. We can sniff out when things are unfair and not worth it. This is why most men have checked out and don't play the game of society anymore. Don't play a game that is rigged against you. Yep. The world has become increasingly cold as people are competing with each other and not caring for others. And we wonder why men are angry and bitter and keep to themselves. Nobody ever cared about men. They just pretend to care. This channel is cool, and it's nice you're talking about this, but I know things won't change. We are too far gone for anything to change. Yeah, men just really don't feel valued, you know, unless the only way men really feel valued is if, you know, if they are happen to be like rich men or they're wealthy, they have good jobs. Yeah, then they're kind of valued and society like just worships them. But, you know, if you're just like an average Joe or poor, I mean, they, you know, society really could care less. They really could care less about men and their problems. Men are fully awake, no longer pawns to a predatory system. Why should I go out? It just ends up costing a ton of money and it's chaotic. I'd rather stay home and save my money for vacations. Although, you know, it's like, what vacations nowadays? You know, what vacations? Most people can't even take vacations. I myself, the only vacations I ever go on is the one that my parents provide. And, you know, they don't, my parents will invite me to some trips, but most of the time my mom and dad will take their own trips and I just have to stay home by myself. So unless like they, you know, take me on a trip, I don't really go anywhere. That's a really long thing. I'm not gonna read it, and it looks like it was, I don't know. It's too long. I'm not reading that. I'm trying to buy some land and just live in a small cabin. Yep. Social media has been so unbelievably damaging for our natural way of life and behavior as a species. It has preyed on the worst aspects of ourselves and amplified and twisted our capacity for darkness and evil against ourselves at the detriment of all. Yeah, social media, it's really changed a lot of things. I mean, social media is really kind of like a double-edged sword in my opinion. Like there can be good things that come out of it, but there's also a lot of like crap that comes out of it too. But I don't really have any social media. I mean, YouTube is like the closest thing to social. I mean, I have a TikTok. I don't really get on it that much. Sometimes if I just want to laugh, I'll get on TikTok, but I'm not like addicted to TikTok or anything. When the money dries up, you will hear I don't really know what that means, to be honest. Friendships and relationships are so fragile that all it takes is one negative comment or action to end them. It makes you wonder if they were ever real to begin with. Yeah, that's true. Especially like with dating, like there's like the whole dating thing. Like a lot of these like real woke liberal women, you know, if you're a man and you say one thing that they don't like, they're pretty much hardcore judging you, and they're like, oh, I don't want to go out with him. Like we're not compatible. You don't have to like agree with a whole person to be compatible. I mean, there's obviously everybody's going to have disagreements, even with your closest friends or your parents. I mean, there's always going to be disagreements, but you can work through disagreements. That's what part of this society is lacking in. We can agree to disagree on things, and we can still like a person. We don't have to agree with their viewpoints or their opinions on things, but we can still be respectful. Every job I've ever had made me out to be a replaceable garbage, even though I had a degree, was overqualified, and no one, and probably more capable than my managers and supervisors. Why would anyone put even the slightest effort in today's modern society? Yeah, exactly. We've realized most people are insincere and fake. Every time we bring people into our lives, they bring their ego and chaos, always trying to gain something from us. We don't care anymore. Yeah, unfortunately, in life now, a lot of people are just, they're really just, they have huge egos, and a lot of people are narcissistic and don't care about anyone else. And it's just want to one up. We got a lot of, one upping in society nowadays. People are like, oh, you have this, I have this. You always have that person when you mention it or talk about something, they always have to like one up you some way. And I can't stand those people. Like, if I ever experience people like that, I like quickly shut them out. Like, I have no patience for people like that. But yeah, you basically get the point. You basically get the point. Yeah, I'm just gonna probably end it here.